week of the semester, Sea Wolves. We thought we would begin this show with some friends of Wolfie.
That's right. We just got finished with Halloween, and I hope you all got a lot of candy. These are candy-loving friends of ours, Mr. Turkey, as in Thanksgiving.
Yes, Benaya, they were out and trying their wings in the giant parking lot in New Jersey. Just like we practice for exams, they are practicing for the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade.
Doreen, are there any new characters this year?
I think we have our new friend Minnie Mouse and a revived new edition of Spider-Man. And beside that, there is Dora the Explorer. Have given you a preview of Thanksgiving Parade. Now let's reintroduce ourselves. I am Doreen Abanamabaya, and I'm thrilled to be here with you today as we gear up for the monumental day in Americans' democracy. And as a citizen of Africa, the little nation of Ghana, I want to see how all of this works.
And I'm Benaya Rosemont from the big nation of Brooklyn. That's right, Doreen. Tomorrow, millions of Americans will head to the polls. Let me remind you that there is a place to vote right here on our campus. The rec center is closed. Instead of pumping iron, people will be exercising their democratic muscles. Now the voting center, not the rec center, is open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m.
If you are registered to vote as a campus resident, make sure you get out there and cast your ballot.
Doreen, you took the opportunity to interview one of the men running to be our very own representative for our first congressional district, the one that stretches from over most of Long Island.
That's right, Benaya. I went to a town hall meeting hosted by the Democratic candidate and former TV anchor like us, John Alon.
As the elections draw nearer, the stakes are higher than ever for voters in New York's 1st congressional district. At a town hall meeting hosted by Democratic candidate John Alon, he challenged incumbent Republican Nick LaLota, and he took the opportunity to engage with the community about the issues that matter most. During the event, he discussed the importance of unity in our political landscape, encouraged students to register and vote, and outlined his plans to address critical concerns. Let's take a closer look at what he had to say.
What can you do to keep the Department of Education open? And the truth about slavery and the histories that are controversial in the country, like Japanese internment.
We need to know our history. We need to teach civics education again. We have cut it out of our curriculum, and it's one of the reasons we're in this mess. And when I see, ironically, under the name free speech, sometimes people banning books, that doesn't help us achieve that. I think we should have a real, full understanding of American history, the good, bad, and the ugly.
As part of his platform, Alon emphasized the importance of unity, stressing the dangers of partisan division, and calling for a fever break that would allow the country to move forward constructively.
We need to do that as a nation on the other side. We need to strengthen American democracy. I'm very concerned that given Donald Trump's track record, he's saying he wants to use the American military against his opponents. This is not a normal thing. This is very dangerous, and I'm afraid if Donald Trump is elected, it will be very difficult to unite the nation because he is approaching it from a position of demonizing his opponents, and we haven't seen Republicans step up to him.
Alon also touched on the power of student voices. With election day approaching, he urged young voters, especially here at Stony Brook University, to make their voices heard.
I will tell you this. This election could absolutely come down to Stony Brook and how many of you are registered to vote. Your vote matters here. This one, we need you. This could determine who controls the U.S. Congress. Because otherwise, we're going to be living in a future that you're not going to like.
Why do you say we are not going to like?
Because
you have showed so much emphasis on that.
Because if, for example, Donald Trump does what he says and says we will make no progress combating climate change, that is going to increase the problems that you deal with on a regular basis over the course of your lifetime. If America loses its moral standing in the world because we re-elect somebody who tried to overturn our democracy on the back of a lie, that makes this America not look like a beacon of stability and freedom.
Back to students, because I'm a student myself. We have so many student loans at Q.
Yeah, and look, President Biden has tried to take action on student loans. He's been opposed every step of the way by Republicans and the courts. You need to respect the courts. So if they're saying that what he's been trying to do is not lawful, then you need to take that into account. I think we do need to make sure, first of all, there aren't predatory lenders with exorbitantly high rates. That's not fair. You got to make it so that if somebody enters public service, I think I'll get to that in a second. That if someone's 20 years, they still can't get their head above water, that loan should be forgiven. I think there should be a mechanism for that. I also think that we need an expanded vision of national service, not just the military, but if you work in the Park Service, Teach for America, you'll be a doctor. And many of these programs do exist, but make them coordinated. So in exchange for 2 years of public service, which would help our nation reunite, those debts are forgiven.
For John Alon, the message is clear. The election is a call for action for voters to take a stand on issues that will impact future generations. Reporting from Stony Brook, I'm Doreen Habanamabaya for The Big Show.
So debts are forgiven. I was really impressed by this man, but because I'm not a citizen, I can't vote, and besides, as a journalist, I shouldn't be expressing my opinions on the air.
We tried really hard to contact the Republican candidate running against Mr. Alon. However, our producer Liam reached out to Nick LaLota half a dozen times, and he and his press office just ghosted us. Not a nice way to treat students. Maybe he thinks he is going to win without the students. Anyway, let's check in with Mary for the one-day weather report.
Hello everyone, this is Mary May with today's weather. As you can see, I am in a very nice, cozy, warm little jacket, so let's get right into today's weather. Today is going to be a high of 58 and a low of 32. And for tomorrow, on election day, it's going to be 10 degrees hotter, so there's no excuse to not get your vote in. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Mary. That's good news for everyone planning to vote. A little sunshine goes a long way.
Now, let's throw it over to Adrian for the latest in sports.
Welcome to Adrians Avenue, your road to learning about what happened in all the sports I care about. I'm Adrian Esposito. When you walk on an avenue, sometimes you can get hit by a bus. This week, that bus was the New York Yankees absolutely blowing it in Game 5 of the World Series. The Yankees were up 5-0 but made crucial errors in the 5th inning of Game 5 and never recovered. They lost the series 4-1. Group therapy, anyone? Moving on to sports that are still in season, let's talk about football. The Seawolves played at Bryant this weekend. The Gridiron Guys took it into overtime and stunned the Bulldogs 31-30. The Seawolves are now 7-2 under new coach Billy Kosh. In other football news, the New York Giants lost to the Washington Commanders on Sunday 27-22. The Giants now have an absurd 7 losses with only 2 wins. The Jets aren't much better, but they did beat the Houston Texans in a special Halloween edition of Thursday Night Football, winning 21-13. The team made 8 sacks. The Jets are now 3-6. In a classic battle between 2 New York hockey teams, the New York Rangers claimed Big Apple supremacy by beating the New York Islanders 5-2. Stony Brook women's soccer team is headed to the CAA championship for the first time in their conference tenure. Riley Rich opened the scoring again in this contest, while CAA co-midfielder of the year Lynn Beck hit the back of the net as well, for a final score of 2-1. The Seawolves will hit the road to take on top-seeded Monmouth on Saturday at 7 p.m. Let's go, ladies! Just one more game! After the New York Liberty won its first WNBA title, what can New York expect from its NBA teams? The New York Knicks defeated the Detroit Pistons on Friday by a resounding 128-98. The Knicks currently have a 3-2 record in 5 games this season and play the Houston Rockets tonight. The Brooklyn Nets also faced the Pistons yesterday but came up short and lost 106-92. The Nets have a 3-4 record and play the Memphis Grizzlies tonight. Seawolves basketball officially starts tonight with the women playing at Columbia and the men playing at Marquette. I am so excited for this basketball season. That's all for this edition of Adrians Avenue. I will bounce it over to Robert for your weather forecast. Robert?
Thanks, Adrian. I caught that metaphorical bounce pass. And to give you another sports metaphor, I'm stepping off the bench today and stepping on the field in place of our typical meteorologist, Jason, who's unfortunately out sick today. So I'm going to give you this week's 7-day forecast. You can see behind me, courtesy of our friends over at EarthCam, Port Jeff today. It's looking a little gloomy, not as beautiful and picturesque fall as it was last week. But in terms of this week's weather, the most important day you need to be paying attention to is tomorrow, Tuesday, Election Day. We're going to get up to around 68 degrees. Maybe it's a little cold. Maybe you want to bring a sweater to bundle up while you're on the lines at your polling station. On Wednesday, we're going to hit a November record high of 73 degrees. And Thursday and Friday, well, they're just going to be as beautiful as it was back in July and August. On Saturday, we're going to dip a little bit down to 58 degrees. But that's okay because that's perfect football weather for you to come out to Kenny P to support the Seawolves as they take on the Albany Great Danes. And on Sunday, we're going to be met with some showers. It's going to be a little gloomy. There's going to be some rain out there, but that's a great time for you to get back into the library and study at this midpoint of the semester. That's the weather for this week. Let's go back to Doreen and Benaya at the desk. Guys?
Thanks for that update, Robert. Great to hear that tomorrow's weather will be ideal for everyone getting out to cast their votes.
Yes, let's hope everyone takes advantage of the beautiful weather.
Absolutely. The decisions made tomorrow will shape our country for years to come, but we may not know the results until later in the week.
On a sad note, a great American hero, Quincy Jones, died this past weekend. Our reporter Manny explains.
Quincy Jones, an American hero in the world of music and entertainment, has died this past Sunday at the age of 91. Jones produced much of the music that is the soundtrack of our lives, from the time that jazz was popular to Michael Jackson and the hip-hop era.
Here's somebody who started in the world of jazz as a trumpet player, as an arranger, working with giants like Count Basie, worked through the world of pop as a producer, became the first black vice president of a white label at Mercury, a label that he signed Leslie Gore to, went on to score movie after movie, including The Wiz, where he met a young Michael Jackson, with whom he would eventually produce the biggest selling album of all time. That, of course, is Thriller, and that is an album that changed the sound of music in the 1980s, as well as the scale of ambition inside the music industry. And Vlad, it's not just that. He's one of the founders of Vibe magazine. So he's got an imprint on hip-hop and an imprint on hip-hop musically as well. His music was sampled by artists like Tupac, De La Soul. I could go on and on.
Doreen, to tell you the truth, I heard of the music he produced, but never knew the man behind it. What is your favorite Michael Jackson song?
We Are the World.
Oh yes, I love that song too. Sucks to know that someone who worked so hard on our favorite song is gone but never forgotten.
Right. That's all for today's edition of The Big Show. Have a beautiful day.
Take care, everyone, and see you at the polls.
This is The Big Show. The Big